Tonight, 2015 DJ conferences, we're talking them right here, right now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight, we're going to be digging into the three major DJ conferences that happened in 2015. And before we get into that, and we're going to be covering a lot of stuff, and I want you guys to know, we're not here to disparage anyone. We're not here to slam anyone. We're basically going to be reporting what we've witnessed from these shows. I want to get that out there right away because that's important. Before we go too far, though, I'm going to have our special guests introduce themselves because we've got Shani and Mike here who have been to the shows and have seen these things and are kind of industry icons.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that. Shani, please introduce yourself for the guests tonight.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shani Barnett from Chicago. Mobile Music Interactive Entertainment. We are a multi-op out of Chicago, Illinois.
Very nice. Very nice. And you were involved with all three shows this year, or what was your connection with the shows?
Exactly. I have actually been involved in all three shows this year, so I definitely can talk about all three shows.
Very nice. Very nice. Mr. Walter.
Yes, sir. Hi, John.
Hey, it's great to have you tonight.
Good to have you. Good to be here.
Yeah. So tell the crowd about yourself. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you want to do when you grow up. Go ahead.
So Mike Walter, from Eatontown, New Jersey. I own Elite Entertainment. I was at all three shows this year that we're going to be talking about. I was involved in two of the three. I did not speak or wasn't involved at Mobile Beat, but I think that's actually it was a great opportunity for me to witness it as an attendee. Without any kind of obligations of doing a seminar or workshop or anything else. And then obviously very involved with DJ Times. And then I offered a seminar couple weeks ago at the Las Vegas DJ show. So I was at all three. And when I heard you were going to do this, Sean, that was one of my questions for you. I said, whoever's on this panel should have attended all three. You can't talk about something that you were not at. So I'm glad all three of us were at all three.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing. Even though there are things that, like when you're working at the at DJ Expo, you are so busy. There's going to be things that you haven't experienced, and that's what's kind of cool about having three different people in three different places at the same show. We can bring a perspective that the others probably didn't experience. So, So we have Mobile Beat Las Vegas, which happened back in March.
February this year.
February. It's February. Next year it's March. So we're in February. Then we had DJ Expo in August. And, of course, September, the end of August, September, we had the Las Vegas DJ show. We're going to start, let's do chronologically. We're going to start with the Mobile Beat Las Vegas show. And we've kind of, for those of you who didn't get to hear my other video, we'll put a link and such so you guys can check out the video, the review of the Las Vegas DJ show. But I mentioned we'd be doing this. And in this video, I kind of went through and kind of gave our guests tonight a kind of an outline of how we were going to put things together, and we were going to grade each show. So I put this, I think I spent 2 hours on this afternoon going through and typing up notes and such, just so I'd be, getting all the little details and such. So, and I know Mike, being the ever.
I spent 5 minutes, John.
I'm sure he.
Hope I don't come across as unprepared here.
No, that's. I wanted to just make sure that I had all my bases covered because I get old and senile lots of times, so I forget what we're going to talk about. So, let's start with Mobile Beat Las Vegas. We're going to start talking about the seminar and seminar room for Mobile Beat Las Vegas. Who wants to start and jump into that one? Mike does.
I'm pointing to see how
pointing to you, Mike.
Okay. Well, it's funny you asked seminar and seminar room because you have to grade them both separately. I mean, the seminar room was an A+. I mean, the production that Mobile Beat put into their room this year, I don't think anyone would argue was probably the best production I've ever seen at a DJ show. As far as the seminars themselves, I'd give them a solid B. They were very inspirational. I thought it was perfect for that time of year, beginning of the year. You're kind of looking at 2015 ahead. And it was real pumped up, kind of get everybody motivated kind of stuff. The only legitimate criticism I've heard about Mobile Beat was there wasn't as much kind of meat as there was the sizzle. But I'm okay with that because I think the sizzle is very effective, and it can just, inspire you for the year ahead. So I would give the seminars a B. And if you want to grade them separately, the seminar room, A+.
That sounds good. That sounds great. Shani, what did you come up with? What were your thoughts?
Okay, well, I'm a very hard grader.
Nice.
So I'm not saying that Mike isn't a hard grader. I'm just saying a very, very hard grader when it comes to things. Seminar room, if I'm, comparing it to the past, definitely I would give that, in the A's. So I'm going to say A-, because I just don't want to, I'm giving it room for improvement. It was the first year, so I'm saying that it's the first year. I want to see bigger and better. So I definitely want to see, okay, you guys did the first year. What can you do now to improve it? So I'm going to give it an A-, but it definitely was, lights and show. And when you open up the doors, it was what I wanted to see from a DJ, DJ Expo from you when you walked in the room.
Yeah.
It was something I wanted to see finally. So that definitely was an A- for me. As far as the seminars go, I'm going to, give it a B/B- for myself. It was in the B ranges. The content for me, it could have been a little better. There could have been some better content for me as well. But it definitely had some golden nuggets for me that I did take away from it. So it was in the B range for me.
Sure. Okay. That sounds great. I'm taking notes here for those of you wondering why I'm looking down an awful lot, because they're giving me the information. I want to be able to have this so we can review it at the end. I agree with Mike that it needed to be separated. The room, I gave it a solid A. I think there was a little bit they could do to improve, but just the step from everything we've experienced at conventions, it was definitely superior. Seminars, I gave the seminars a B, kind of a straight B, because some of the feedback I had gotten, and I was in some of the seminars, it was more motivational, more theory. It wasn't the hands-on things. And not that that's a bad thing, but I think it was just, as Mike said, it was a time of the year, and that really motivation to get you excited for the year is probably more important. So I think I came across, when I put the two together, I gave the show itself a B+ at that point for the seminar and seminar room combined. So keeping track, Mike, I think you came in with an A-. Shani came out with a B, and I came out with a B+ for the seminars and seminar room together.
Yes.
Okay. We talked to the response from some of the attendees from the seminars. Now, not our personal feelings. What kind of things were you hearing in the halls from people? So let's just continue, Mike, and then we'll go Shani and myself. What were you hearing?
Well, I heard very positive things, which I think makes sense when you're doing a lot of inspirational type of content. I don't think it was until a week or two later that I started hearing anything critical, and that was what we just said. Maybe the criticism was not a lot of content. So when you were there in Las Vegas at the show, you were pumped up. You were ready to run through a wall. And so the vibe that I got from the hallway was, wow, this is awesome. And it wasn't until a week or two later, maybe on your flight home, that you started looking through your notes and you realized, yeah, I didn't really get any maybe nuggets as much as just, my chest is puffed up and I'm ready to take on the day, which again, I find great value in inspirational type of stuff. So I don't criticize that, but I can see why the feedback was very positive initially, and then a couple weeks later, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I understand. Hey, yeah. Shani, what did you hear from the crowd?
From what I was hearing from a lot of people were talking more about what they were seeing. And when I'm talking about what they were seeing, it was about exactly what I was talking about, the room and the way it looked, and Jason spinning up on the stage and the lights and the MCs. And I didn't really hear too much about the seminars and the people talking. And everybody kept saying, wow, did you see the opening? Wow, did you see like Jason spinning? Wow, did you see this? And nobody really at that point was talking about, hey, did you hear about what's, this person was talking about in their seminar? Yeah, they were maybe talking about one or two in particular seminars, but I didn't really hear too much about all the seminars. Yeah. So again, what I was hearing more about was the glitz and the glamour of the room itself.
Yeah, I think I definitely experienced that, both of those. And one of the feedback I was getting with some of the people is that there were a couple of larger names there. You had Brian Dodge, you had Carr Hagerman, and Penn Jillette. And the one that I heard the most feedback from was the Penn Jillette seminar. And it was interesting. It was almost really a dividing line. For those of us who are a little more experienced, we'll call it, that a lot of us just enjoyed the presentation, or the interview really is what it was. But we were able to still pick out some nuggets out of his presentation, where some of the younger DJs, or maybe, even some of them age-wise were not younger, but maybe they're newer to the industry, what have you, they didn't get anything out of it, and they were frustrated with that seminar. So it was an interesting little dynamic with that you could really, there was just such a, either you loved it or you hated it. There really wasn't a lukewarm when it came to Penn's presentation or his interview. So overall,
I can't imagine anyone not loving Penn Jillette's presentation. I mean, the guy has had a long history in the entertainment business. Sure, he's not a mobile DJ, but he's made a very successful career as an entertainer. How do you not sit in a room and listen to this guy talk about his career and be inspired and take some nuggets away? And P.S. Carl Hagerman interviewing him was perfect because he knows him and he knew what questions to ask. He knew what direction to take him in. There was a friendliness and a camaraderie you could tell between the two. It would shock me that anybody had anything negative to say about that, but you can't please everybody.
I thought it was great. I mean, I thought it was great to hear his story and just to hear what he had to say. I really didn't know his history. I didn't really know his background just from what I've known from TV and everything. So just to hear everything about it, for me, it was great. Whether I took anything about it into what I do for a living, it didn't matter to me. I just was great to hear his life story.
Yeah, that was a very cool part, and completely unexpected because I wasn't following what the guys were doing with Bill and Jason. But to hear some of those stories and know, the Renaissance Festival, and I've been there. It's just down the road from me, not too terribly far. So it was kind of cool. But that's me being geeky. Okay, let's keep going. Mobile Beat Las Vegas. Let's look at the exhibit hall. Talk a little bit about what our observations were there. Mike, you want to just keep taking it, starting us off?
Yeah, sure. I grade the exhibit hall a C, maybe a C minus. I mean, to me, it's pretty much what I've come to expect from Mobile Beat's show, which is nothing earth-shattering. You can tell the manufacturers that are there sort of on a budget. They don't roll out their biggest, displays, and they're probably not unveiling anything brand spanking new that they're going to launch for the year. I compare it. For years, John, I was running a lot of marathons, and you go to a marathon that had 30,000 runners, and the expo hall was huge, and then you go to a marathon that had 1,000 runners, and they had 4 booths in an expo where you pick up your number. It's very similar to that. There's going to be your Boston Marathon expos, and then there's going to be your small marathon. It's the same thing at Mobile Beat. It's a cute expo floor, but I mean, there's nothing earth-shattering about it.
Yep, I understand. I agree. I agree a lot there. Shani, what was your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if I see one more photo booth, I mean, nothing against photo booths, but it just seemed like that was like the photo booth expo.
Haven't they all been the last couple of years, though?
Yeah, but for some reason, I think this one, it really, if we played the drinking game of the photo booth of this one, I think by the 5th one, we would all of us would have been done. I really think there were too many at this one. So, I mean, I kind of go off of what Mike was saying. And I mean, I'll give it, I'm going to give it more of a B minus, just because I know the Anaheim conference is right before. So I know some of the bigger vendors roll out some of the newer gear that they just showed out in Anaheim in January. So I know Pioneer and everything that, show off some of the newer gear, show it, for those people that can't get out there, show some of the newer gear at Mobile Beat if you can't go to that one. So if you can't go to that show, you get to see it at Mobile Beat. So for me, that's kind of cool that I get to see some of that new gear. So I'll give it a B minus, even though every other vendor was no disrespect to the photo booths, was a photo booth.
This is a great time to put our plug in for
hashtag I keep it real. I'm sorry.
It's a great time for us to throw in our plug for the next year's Photo Booth Expo.
Woo!
Okay, my thoughts with the exhibit hall. I gave it a C plus, and the reason I gave it a C plus is there was a nice variety. We were still missing. There was a couple of the bigger vendors that you'd love to see there. My 2 biggest downfalls with it was still pretty noisy. And the space, it's kind of an old space. It's kind of a little smelly a little bit. And it's just...
No.
We go with the hotel when we talk about the hotel.
We're going to get that too. But the exhibit hall...
That's just the rib, John.
Yeah, that's being at the rib. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But And then as Mike mentioned, with the idea that they're going to break new gear at the show, I think there were only, as far as I know, about 2 products that were introduced at that show. Otherwise, pretty much everything is things that especially in my world, I've seen for several months. So those types of things, it was good, but it wasn't anything that was right home good. So C, B minus, and C plus is the exhibit hall. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the evening events that they did, or the other events that were part of the show. Now that's going to be a little bit, might be a tougher one, but the big one that was the most talked about was the trip down to the Tropicana for this year's show.
Yeah, John, as I was preparing for this question, I was trying to think back. I mean, it's all the way to February. I don't remember anything else but that Legends night where it was Jazzy Jeff and who's the Davey Got Back guy?
Bismarcky.
Yeah. No, not Bismarck.
Mix-a-lot?
Yeah,
was it Mix-a-lot this year? Mix-a-lot.
Were there other evening activities at Mobile Beat?
And that is one of my points. There's
3 of us. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, let's face it, you're in Las Vegas. You don't have to plan everything for us. I mean,
exactly.
We can go out and show, we can have a dinner. So,
I mean, we did the DJ takeover, but that's not Mobile Beat sponsored.
Yep.
Right.
We did that.
I would say that's something that's tethered to the show, so I would include that. I gave it a B. I gave the evening event a B. I loved the Legends night, and I thought it was a brilliant move on Mobile Beat's part to get us down to the Tropicana, where the show is going to be next year, kind of whet everybody's appetite that, hey, we're leaving the Rib. We're finally done there. Check out where 2016 is going to be. So I thought that was a brilliant move to get us to the Tropicana. And I thought Jason Janai spinning that night was great. And then Jazzy Jeff's set was amazing. And Sir Mix-a-Lot, I mean, let's face it, he's a rapper. I'm not that into it. I still remember Freedom Williams 3 years ago. That was so much fun. But that's the only thing I could remember. So I gave their evening event a solid B.
Okay, Shani, what do you got? I dropped a pencil.
I mean, I agree with that. I'm definitely going to give it a B. I wish it was longer. I definitely wish it was longer than just the 2 hours. I felt like as soon as the concert was over, we all had to just get out of there. I felt it was like the club was closing, and then it was the line like, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the out of here type of thing. Where they were just like, you got to go. And it was. I mean, it was a great, on their part to put us at the Tropicana, so we kind of got to see where we were going to be and everything, and anywhere where I could see Jazzy Jeff up close. I mean, I'm definitely gonna go see that. And to me, that part got an A. Jazzy Jeff himself would get an A+ for me at any point at the time. So him himself would get an A, but the whole event, definitely got a B from me. I just wish it would have been longer. That would just be my thing. Maybe 3 hours. Add another hour to it if they could, of just a half hour before the event and a half hour after the event from mix and mingle type thing where you just don't have to leave right away and get out of there.
Yeah. Very good, very good. I also was thinking B for my grade for the evening activities, and because I didn't make, I was going off some of the pictures and some of the people I talked to, and you mentioned Jazzy Jeff and a number of people who were just in awe of his performance, because it was from my understanding, it was a solid, real DJ performance. It wasn't somebody out there like doing for the Freedom Williams. That was exactly what I was thinking too, Mike. He's Freedom up on stage and like.
I'm not easily offended, so I actually enjoyed that night. I know some people. I think he said NF like 20 times that night, but I'm not easily offended. So was
that on the first half of the bottle or the second half of the bottle he drained on stage?
Remember, he had the lit cigar behind his ear. How did that not hurt him? He had a lit cigar behind his ear.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. But the number of people that. One of the early when I knew that was going to be happening, they mentioned that Jason Janai was going to be performing there, and he's doing the whole during the day thing. I was actually wondering if we were going to hear people say, "Oh, gosh, we saw him all day, and now we're going to see him again." Didn't hear that at all. Everyone was just kind of in awe of his skills throughout the show, but especially that night, they were like, "We enjoyed watching Jason almost as much as we enjoyed watching the other guys," which was really what an incredible little nod for Jason.
Yeah,
I think it was a testament to Janai that he opened up that night. And listen, Jazzy Jeff was amazing, but it's not like Jazzy Jeff blew Janai away, which is a testament for Jason Janai. There's not a lot of DJs that could have opened that night and then handed it over to Jazzy Jeff and not been completely humble. Janai is one of the few. So
Yeah, outstanding. He's a good man for that. Okay, the last component we're going to talk about is the site, because we have to talk about the whole show experience.
You're kicking dirt on the dead. The river's closed. It's boarded up.
Yeah, they're blowing it up next week. I heard when I was in Vegas, they're blowing it up next week.
It gets an F from everybody, and move on.
I'm just happy I never got a staph infection. I mean, let's be honest.
It's a miracle you never got a staph infection.
Okay. So yeah, I think we're pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
that rip was.
Anything Tropicana does will be an upgrade. Let's put that.
So next, let's jump to the oldest of our DJ conferences we're going to be talking about. We're talking about DJ Expo, happened in Atlantic City, August. Mike, you had a lot of input with this one, so it's going to be a little tougher for you to be viewed as that really objective person. But knowing you as long as we've known you, and knowing you the kind of person you are, you're not going to be afraid to tell it like it is. So start us off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do lead with that. It is very hard for me to be completely biased. I do my best when I judge DJ Times. But yeah, I mean, I've been involved in it for 14 years, running the competitions at night and doing a lot of the seminars, and my company now has had a big hand in, doing the audio for the seminars for the last 8 or 9 years. So it is hard, but I do try to be unbiased, and I'll start with the seminars. I gave the seminars a B this year. I thought the content was really good. I thought, just like any 3 days of seminars, of course, you're going to get a couple clunkers, if you will. But I also thought you had a number of seminars that were just amazing. And I think if you just look at Tuesday afternoon alone at DJ Times, where you have the mitzvah, hour and a half of mitzvah, followed by, I think it's a 2-hour games that Jake runs. I mean, that block of 2 seminars in a row is worth the price of admission at any DJ convention. Yep. So I give the seminars a solid B.
Shani, what were your thoughts for the seminars?
Yeah, I definitely will give it a solid B as well. What I like about DJ Time seminars is, especially for me, just because our company is not just a wedding specified company. We're actually, our weddings are only 10% for us. So, for us, anywhere where I can learn more than just about weddings, I love it. And DJ Times with the seminars, for me, it's not just about weddings, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love learning about the weddings because we definitely do the weddings and I can learn a lot more. But there I can learn about a lot of other stuff, different types of events and different things that have nothing to do with events, but more about other types of topics and mixing and games and mitzvahs and everything, all different types of things. So for me, I definitely give it a solid B as well.
My take on it was I gave it a C+, and really where I saw that I would like to have seen a little bit, maybe if a couple more people from outside the industry to come in and speak on sales. There was a lot of this. The positive is that there's a lot of the how-to and the demonstration, and here's the meat and such. It was there. It wasn't much theory at DJ Expo, but I kind of like a little bit of the theory. So for me, I would have liked to have seen more of that. I think for the people who are doing events where they want to see and they want to learn and basically be shown how to do it, it was easily the best of the 3 shows. So that's where I went. Seminar room, Mike. You just mentioned that your company provided sound and video for the seminar room. Is that correct?
Well, we provide audio for the seminar room. We've never been asked to provide the video content. They, just like I think most shows, they rent the projector. They use the projector that's built into the room, and they use the big screen. So.
And I think the room it was a nice layout, I thought, this year. My biggest downfall with that room this year is that you step out the door and it's a smoky casino, stinky hallway there at the Taj. And that does carry over into the room, I think. And for me, just because I'm not used to that type of atmosphere anymore, it took the experience down a little bit for me.
I think the worst part about the seminar room there is nobody can get a signal anywhere. Which actually, it makes it good because people actually have to pay attention to the seminars. You can't be, looking at Facebook and everything else. But it is very difficult if you are trying to get any kind of communication out. And as soon as you step outside the room, you can get a signal and you get 15 text messages that you missed while you're in there. But that to me is one of the most frustrating parts of that room. But it's just the way I guess it's so well built or something. I don't know.
Yeah, however it is. Shane, what was your thought on the seminar room?
Yeah, as far as the seminar room goes, I thought it was fine until actually somebody told me that they couldn't see my PowerPoint in the back of the room because of the lighting. Which I didn't, usually when I do my PowerPoints, because I'm around it so much, I try to make sure that, the characters and the colors and everything that I choose are pretty good. And I don't know if it was maybe because of the chandelier, and maybe we need to maybe turn the lights a little bit lower on some for PowerPoints or something. I don't know, maybe something to think about. Yeah. But that was just something that somebody told me, that everything was great until they were watching something on my PowerPoint and couldn't see it in the back of the room. So I was like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that, with the chandelier lights and things like that. But other than that, I think the sound is great, So yeah. Now, Mike, do you do the sound for the other rooms as well, like the diamond room?
No. They just have us do the sound for the main bar.
Okay, so that's not your sound when I go in the other room for the other. Okay, so no. That's the hotel that's doing that. Okay.
Yeah, which is always a challenge when you're doing shows. Is when you get the hotel AV, it just can be a huge problem so quickly.
Yeah, I talked about that in my seminar last year. In fact, I talked about.
I think we've come a long way as an industry, because when I first started speaking at these shows, a lot of times that's what you did. You plugged right into the house system, and you're going through these little tinny speakers up in the ceiling. And it took a while, but I think as an industry, we've at least embraced the fact that, hey, if you're going to have a DJ show, you got to have a good quality DJ system. And one of the things that I'm proud of, that I don't think DJ Times was the first to do it, but we really spearheaded it, where we have a DJ mixing. It's usually Marshall Moore, my guy Marshall, and he's spinning in between seminars. And Mobile Beat, I think, took that to a whole nother level last year. But it makes sense if you have a DJ show and there's 20 minutes in between seminars. Why are we listening to Kenny G? Have a DJ pump up the room and mix.
So you're saying Kenny G can't mix?
Yes, I will go on record as saying Kenny G can't mix.
We have a controversy. That's gonna be great.
That might be the most controversial thing.
For all you Kenny G lovers out there,
we can make a techno version, I'm sure, of Kenny G. I mean,
send an email to Mike at EliteEntertainment.com and complain about my statements about Kenny G.
It'd be great. This will be the hottest thing on Twitter tomorrow. Okay, let's jump then to our exhibit hall. I think is what exhibit hall is next. Mike, start us off.
All right, John, I give the exhibit hall an A, but I do that comparing this to other DJ shows, okay? You, John, I'm looking right at the screen. You ruined me 2 years ago by bringing me to NAMM. You introduced me to this whole world of, it is amazing what goes on at NAMM. So now I go to every other show, DJ Times included, and I go, this is like a little playground compared to what I see at NAMM. So I will give DJ Times an A when I judge it against other DJ shows, but compared to NAMM and I'm sure some of the other bigger shows, it can't compare.
Shani, what were your thoughts on the exhibit hall?
I am going to give the exhibit hall a B, just because, again, kind of like Mobile Beat, some of the bigger players weren't there. Rain didn't show up. Or I don't want to say didn't show up, but Rain wasn't there. They didn't have a booth. They weren't there. Some of the other bigger names weren't there. And that kind of surprised me that, some of the big DJ names weren't there. I don't know the logistics. I don't know why. I don't know if it was, money issues or, something with DJ Times or something. But, that kind of surprised me. It was very loud. I do have to say that this one was very.
It's a DJ show. What do you expect?
What? I can't hear you. What?
You were in the Bose booth, weren't you, this year? Just last couple weeks ago. I mean, these manufacturers are selling speakers. What do you expect? That they're not going to be loud?
Why do you have to call me out like that?
I just think John said the same thing about Mobile Beat. I'm like,
no, I know. No, I get that. I get that. And yes, I will admit it. Yes, I was, I'll do a shameless plug. Yes, I was in the Bose booth and I was playing music.
I set you up for that, Shani.
And I'll promote the new F1 speakers for them. That is correct.
5 minutes on the F1. Go ahead.
But I think it was overly loud. I won't say it was loud. I think maybe it was overly loud to the point where I get it when you're at the booths and you want to try to sell stuff and you want to try to talk to people about selling stuff. So I get that, whereas maybe they need to talk more about where to put certain products and maybe not put the promo only table where Pioneer is at. So when they want to talk to people about to get their subscriptions, it shouldn't be where Pioneer is trying to play music and stuff. Maybe something like that. I don't know. But it really, I think this year it was kind of extra loud. That's just my opinion. That's all I'm going to say. But I give it a B. Definitely give it a B.
And Shani, I would agree with you completely, of course, that it was extra loud and that you can't do business when it's that loud. That was my personal beef with that. On the positive side, as Mike said, it's one of the biggest shows short of NAMM or LDI, but I mean, in the DJ industry, it's one of the largest ones. I love the variety. I love that some of the manufacturers bring in a larger booth and really show some things off. So my biggest downfall, the volume. And really that it's, the room itself is just this old, decrepit thing. But on the positive side, it didn't smell of urine this year. So I was happy about that. And
Good.
We'll just leave it at that. But so I gave it a solid B also for the exhibit hall. Okay, let's keep going to the other events. Now, there were evening events, and I actually attended a couple this year, which is something that I generally don't do because I'm usually in bed by 9 o'clock and getting up so I can get to the the senior citizens early morning breakfast.
An exciting life you lead, John.
That's right. That's right. Mike, tell us about what your thoughts were on the evening events.
This is so hard for me to say because I produced the Monday night mobile party. I produced the Wednesday night DJ of the Year competition. So it's hard. It's really, really hard for me to judge it. I think both nights went great. I think people got lots of great nuggets from it and learned some cool new dances and things like that. I know there was a controversial ending this year to the DJ of the Year competition, but my feedback on that is that's because there were 5 really good competitors. You know what I mean? It was so like the controversy was who should have won, this person or this person, the person won. Well, that's because there were 5 legitimate could have taken it. So that speaks to the high level of the competition this year. I don't care that it's in a strip club. I know that bothers some people. To me, we're all adults and you don't see any strippers anyway. So the fact that it's in a room that happens to be in a strip club, it's fine for me. The audio is great in that room. The lighting system is pretty cool. To me, it's the nicest room. I produced the show for 14 years in 4 different rooms, and it's the nicest room that we've had, especially this year with no stripper pole on the stage.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday night, there were DJs spinning all over town. There was a party over at the Borgata. There was one back at the Taj. Mm-hmm. And then after the competition on Wednesday night, there was a great set by DJ Scribble. So I think there's a ton going on in Atlantic City. And I mean, if you want to ask for a grade, I give it an A, but again, I'm totally biased. And my Mets are just scoring a couple runs here, so I'm happy.
It's a good evening. Shani, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I definitely will give it an A to an A plus.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah.
High and I did.
I know. And the only reason I'm also doing that is also because the promo only summer session, they did away with it last year. So promo only didn't have their party last year. They brought it back this year. I'm not going to lie, I didn't go. I didn't go this year. But because of all that, my radio boys are also there as well. So they DJ all over the Atlantic City as well, as Mike was saying. There's DJs all over the place. So I get to see them spin in Atlantic City, which I really don't get to see them spin in Chicago because we're always spinning at the same time. So it's nice for me to get to see them all over the place. So there's parties going on, besides everything going through DJ Times, there's something going on all over the place. Monday night, Mike has where he's hosting the party that's going on at the Taj. Then there's always something going on afterwards. And even if you look in the book, if you have your pass, your DJ Times pass, you could get into clubs as well, with your DJ Times pass, which you wouldn't normally be able to get into. So those places you can get into as well for free. And then also if you know of other things going on as well, you can get into those spots too. So there was always just something going on somewhere. And if you know what's going on with the promo summer session, you can get to those parties as well. So there was just, the nightlife for the DJ Times definitely there was things, going on. So for me, definitely I give it in the A to A plus range. So that's my thing for that. And just to touch on what Mike said, and I'm not really going to get into it, but there are strippers walking around during the competition, just so you know. You don't see them.
I didn't see one nipple, Shani. Not one.
No, there's no nipples. I'm not saying they're performing, but they are walking around. They walk through the sides.
Wow.
To get, those little rooms, like I'm not saying they're going where your mom and dad are, but like the little room that they're in, they go into those little rooms.
Right.
Yeah. So, but there's no nipples. They have nipples, but there's no,
But Mike's so focused on producing the show and introducing and what's going on the stage that the rest of it's oblivious.
That's right.
But I'm happy. But one thing I do have to say is I'm really happy that they did away with the stripper pole. So, that I know that was very controversy for a lot of people that I heard and including me, I definitely didn't want to be on a stage where there was a stripper pole just for some reasons. I didn't want to have video of me being on a stage with a stripper pole behind me to have my clients or something to see something.
Good point. Yeah.
Just, because I have a lot of corporate clients and things like that, with the Fortune 500 world. And I just don't need to have to explain myself and why I'm trying to lead a bunch of DJs with a stripper pole behind me. So I know I'm personally happy that the stripper pole wasn't up there.
Good.
Don, how do you feel about the stripper pole?
Well, I've got a whole repertoire on a stripper pole, but that's for another video at another time. So we'll just.
Sounds like a fun one.
I gave it for the events. I gave it an A-, and the biggest reason for that is me being someone from out of town. Is I don't have transportation, so that means that all the cool parties that I can't walk to, I've got to take a cab. And I would be kind of cool if things were a little closer, but the coolest parties were a cab ride away. Yeah. Other than that, there's just the variety and there's things you can see and the performers you can do. It's a cool place. And in many ways, I like it better than Las Vegas because there's only so many things, and generally DJs are at most of those things. Where in Las Vegas, they can be spread out with different shows and things. So it's really kind of a cool thing because you can do things, go and hit the stripperless stripper club, and there's a lot of DJs there to hang out with. I mean, we went and sat in one of the little private back rooms there, and we carried on a conversation and chatted for quite a while, and bounced to the next room and talked to some more people. So it was just a good time.
And DJ Scribble killed it the final night.
Every year he wrecks it. The guy's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely talented man there. Okay, let's see. The last is the hotel casino site. Okay, this could be a quick one, I think, also, almost like the Riv. But let's go ahead, Mike. What do you got?
Well, listen, I don't think the Taj is as bad as the Riv. I give it a C-. I think the one thing I noticed this year, the staff was a lot friendlier. I think they all know that they're this close to losing their jobs, and maybe the client experience might save them. So I had much nicer dealings with the people in the valet parking and anyone I dealt with. So I there's only so much you can do about the facility. It's old, it's decrepit, it smells like smoke or urine, as you pointed out in some places. But I thought the staff was friendly, so I would give it a C-.
Yeah, it gets a D from me. It just, the restaurant still has really bad service. Like you said, the people are really friendly. The restaurant still has bad service. I just don't know what takes them so long to get my food. I don't get it. I had to get my room changed 3 times when I checked in.
Oh.
Yeah, I was, they gave me a dirty room the first 2 times, and I was in the Chairman Tower. Yeah, the room is nice and all. The bathroom's great. It's huge. I could do a party in the bathroom, but that's probably the best part of the room is how big the bathroom is. But just the hotel. I don't want to make any Trump jokes, but
go ahead, make a Trump joke. Where are you going with this?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Send your comments.
I'm just saying.
Okay, my thought with the hostel, I gave it a D. It's old. My experience in the room was okay, but the hallway, there's junk in the hallway, and the staff was very friendly. I got to give the staff was friendly. Security guards they're always very friendly and say hi as you go by and such. So it's just the stinky casino and such. I'm not a big fan of. The hallway was kind of gross. But my highlight for the place is that there's a White House sub. And of course, we can't get that anywhere else. So, I mean, that I was actually thinking I could pump it up a couple of grades, but then I thought, well, I'm not going to let a White House sub. So that was going to be somewhere in that D range. All we are now in the home stretch. It's time to talk. Las Vegas DJ show happened just a couple of weeks ago. We were all there. We all had different levels of involvement with this show, and we're going to continue on. Mike, we're going to start with seminars. You can rock us and start us off. What do you got?
I'm gonna give the seminars a B plus. I think the only thing that stopped it from being an A was the Michael Buffer seminar, and I'm not just talking about KC's attire. I don't think we got the most out of Michael Buffer. I compare Michael Buffer to the Penn Jillette moment at Mobile Beat, where you had this high-profile guy brought in, interviewed, and I just thought there was so much more that we got out of Penn Jillette than we got out of Michael Buffer. But other than that, I thought the seminars were really good, very consistent all the way through. Shani and I, back-to-back, the 1-2 punch, as I called it Wednesday morning, I thought was really good. I got great feedback on my seminar that I gave, and Shani got great feedback from hers. So I probably would have given it an A, the seminars, if Michael Buffer had been a little bit stronger. But I'd give it a B plus, which is still, looking at my notes, is the highest grade that I gave out of the 3 for seminars.
Shani, what did you have for the
for me, touching on a little bit what Mike said about the Michael Buffer, I wish that I would have heard more from Michael Buffer himself instead of maybe Casey just didn't ask the right questions, or maybe because he really didn't know him that well, or maybe we should have just let Michael Buffer just talk about Michael Buffer. So I wish I would have learned more about maybe like his voice and what he does for his voice and things like that, since we are in the entertainment industry. So I wish I would have got more out of that. For me, as far as the seminars goes, besides the day that Mike and I went, which I would give that day an A, of course. For me, again, a lot of it was wedding orientated for me. So me personally, I would probably give it more of a C plus, because I was trying to get a lot out of the wedding stuff that I could use for my other events, and I couldn't really use a lot of the stuff for my other events because it really was more just wedding, where some of the seminars, and I'm not just saying this because Mike is here, because if Mike wasn't here, I would say it too, where even his seminar I could use for more than just a wedding. So I could use, things that he was telling me. Some of the other people's seminars, I could use it for more than just a wedding. And that's why for my seminar, I wanted to do it for more than just a wedding type of seminar. So most of the seminars that I went to were really towards weddings. So for me, I would give it a C plus.
Gotcha. For myself, I went with a B plus also in this one. Really, my things that held me back on going an A, which I think the lineup and such of content, especially for the wedding entertainers, was the strongest of the 3. The thing that really held me back was the sound in the room. The sound in the front half of the room was very good. When you got towards the middle and the back half of the room, the sound was not as great as it was. From the attendee perspective, one of the things I heard from many people was that they were looking for the 2 tracks where they could go and choose between, and it was putting it down to a single track was a change from the earlier promotion of the show. So what was there was great. It's just in some ways it wasn't what people were expecting. And that made me take it down to a B plus. Okay, let's jump to the exhibit hall. Mike.
Mike, you didn't see, but Mike just yawned.
John looked down, so he missed.
He missed that. That was actually what. That was all Mike. Now it's on to me. Like, that was Mike's response for the.
Here was the best. I'll tell you the best part about the exhibit hall. It gave me plenty of time to lay by the pool, because you could walk the exhibit hall in 10 minutes, and that includes listening to Shani mix in the Bose booth for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
And then you could go up and lay by the pool. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's not a great exhibit hall. What are you going to do? He didn't have a lot of manufacturers there. He had some obvious ones missing. The ones that were there brought their smallest, exhibits, and it wasn't a grade. So if you need a grade, I'd give it a D, just because I hate to fail anybody. So I'm just going to give it a D.
Yeah, I'm gonna mirror exactly everything that Mike said. It was very shocking for me. This is the first time that I been to this one, so for me to walk in the exhibit hall, I felt like I was in a miniature, small, little, tiny, like mini house type thing. Everything was very scaled down, and I was missing a lot of the big names. So, I walked around and I was like, okay, where's the other door? I thought, when you go to some of those type of, like hotel places where you got to walk in this ballroom, then you kind of walk out, then you got to go down the hall to like this one. And then the other vendors are in another room. And they're like, no, this is just the whole area. So I was very disappointed, and I heard some reasons why some of the other vendors don't come. So, it is what it is, but if people aren't buying, they're not buying. I just wish there would have been more people. And I heard from a lot of first timers that they were disappointed because they wanted to spend some money. People did want to spend money. And, and I know I hear this from Pioneer a lot. A lot of people wanted to hear about, oh, let me buy some Pioneer. And Pioneer doesn't sell their own gear. They, that's one big thing with Pioneer is they say to you, oh, go to this vendor. They sell my Pioneer gear. But guess what? Nobody was there selling any Pioneer gear. So Pioneer was showing off their latest gear, but there was nobody there selling it. So if somebody would have just been there, they would have been making a ton of money because there was nobody there to sell any of their gear there.
Yeah, and Jay did have a nice display of the current mixers and such, the controllers there at the show.
Yeah, he even had the brand new battle mixer that just came out, and and it was like it was very disappointing for me. It was like Mike said, it was a 5-minute walkthrough. It really was. And I was very disappointed. And it was very shocked because I saw some just empty curtain booths that had names on them, but I don't know if those people just didn't show up. I didn't understand what was going on there. There were some names on them, but nobody was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and
so,
that definitely.
Again, I really don't want to say F because I just don't feel like I want to fail anybody. So I don't know if you can give somebody a D-. I don't know if that's even a grade. If you do minus and plus with a D. So
I think you can.
Okay, well, if you can, then I'm going
to grade, Shani.
You know what? I am going to make it a grade. So I'm going to say D-.
Myself, I actually went a little bit stronger than that. I went to a C-, and the reason I went for a stronger is that looking at the past couple of years and the space that it was in, I really liked the space in which that exhibit hall, even though it was small and it was missing and everything you guys have talked about, if that would have been in a larger area, it would have really looked really out of place and bad. The room itself, I thought, was a nice size, and there's room to grow, and there's there's more area and such at Planet Hollywood for that. So for what was there, the room it looked like it fit in the room, but it looked almost more like a bridal show than it did a DJ convention. So for those reasons, I gave it a C-. Let's continue. Other events. There were other events going on during the show. What did you hear, Mike, and what did you experience?
Well, I attended a number of them, and I have to give this a bad grade too. I hate to do that, but first of all, I missed Sunday night, Shani. I was disappointed about that. I know you mixed, so I should probably give it a D, but with an incomplete because I didn't get to see Sunday night. I thought going to Marquee was fun, kind of just hanging out with a few DJs. So I guess if you count that was kind of cool. But earlier that evening, there was supposed to be a pool party, or there was a pool party advertised that didn't happen. I was out there and nobody knew anything about the pool party, and it was kind of disappointing. And I learned later that had been canceled but not taken off the schedule, so that message never got out. And the mix-off, which I judged this year and I judged last year, and Shani was an MC at, I just feel like there's no production value with that. And I think Drax probably needs to do something like DJ Times has done by empowering me to produce it. Drax needs to name a producer for that show and just hand it off, because he's probably got juggling too many balls in the air and can't give that the time of day. And something like a mix-off needs somebody to actually produce it for that night to flow. It was shocking to me when I forget the gentleman's name. Joe Castro, I think, was the kid's name, or the kid who won last year, and introduced him this year. And and I called Shani over. I said, Shani, isn't this last year's winner? And Shani said, I don't know. And I said, well, I'm not sure, but ask how that message didn't get to the MC that, hey, by the way, when you introduce this person, he's last year's winner. that kind of blew my mind. I was unimpressed by that. I'd have to give the evening stuff a D at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Shani, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was a lot to do. You know, Drax did make sure there were events for people to go to. So I do give him that A for effort for, you know, for doing that. But as far as the events in general, you know, I feel that he definitely needs a team to help him out. He's a great guy. But if he had a team helping him, I just think that they would go off smoothly. That, you know, the mix and mingle party that I was a part of, that I DJ'd at, it would have gone a lot smoother if some things would have happened, you know. And then as far as, I didn't go to the pool party, which I'm glad I didn't go to, because I guess there was no pool party. So if I would have changed my plans and would have gone to it, I would have been upset that I would have changed my plans, and I would have made sure there was a pool party, and I would have made a conga line or made something happen, because I would have been there and would have made a damn party if something was going on. So
I bought around the drinks, if that matters. I did my,
you know, like, so I don't, you know, so for something to get canceled and not get, you know, get it out, whether on the app that everybody was supposed to have on their phone, or however everybody was, you know, to me, you know. And then again, you know, that mix master, it's a great concept, but it was executed really poorly. I mean, I'm reading messages off my phone that I just got 2 minutes beforehand. You know, I just felt, you know, bad for myself and the judges. And it was just, thinking we were all professionals. That's one thing I have to say, that you had a bunch of professionals helping you out. So as much as I was part of it, I would love to say I get an A. I wasn't running it, so I'm going to say a C- because I was part of it. I wasn't running it though. I was just talent. So I'm going to say C-.
I'm gonna give it a D for my view of it. A couple of things that I prefer, again, as someone from out of town, I prefer things with close and local, and most of the things were there this year, which was good. But the confusion with what's going on and the stories, you know, that there was a lot of discontent among the attendees on what was going on, and that things not being produced, and things are not, you know, that there's talent there, but it's like, gosh, it could have been so. That was a very common thread that I was hearing and such. So I think there's definitely a lot of room, but I gave that a D for just basically not being organized. I think is the best way to describe it. Let's see. The last, talking about the hotel and the site and the casino. Mike, go ahead.
I think the hotel was the best I think I've probably ever seen a DJ convention at. It was so organized. Everything was all in one spot. You go down the elevator, which took forever, but I gave the casino an A. Where was it again? The
Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood.
I thought Planet Hollywood was the perfect location for a DJ show. So I would give it an A. I think it's the best one I've ever seen.
Shani.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it was at Planet Hollywood. You know, it was a great location, middle of the strip. If anybody wanted to go anywhere else, they were already in the middle of the strip. So it was great. And I guess for the people that wanted to go marquee, you literally were right across the street. So if anybody got a little bubbly, you just have to walk across the bridge. You didn't have to worry about anything. So you were right there. You know, just follow the homeless people and walk across the bridge, and you would get right back to Planet Hollywood.
Plenty of good food options too.
Right. Like, and I was going to say that, you know, lots of restaurants to choose from. You know, there was, you know, the one restaurant, the main restaurant was open 24 hours, which I loved. So I could grab something to eat, like a salad, or I could eat something that was 24 hours, which I found out, which that was great for me because I eat all the time. So I could always grab something. So for me, I mean, I would definitely give it like a B+, just because I didn't like the theme of my room. I got a bad theme.
What was the theme of your room?
Mine was Rob Roy.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
Never heard of Rob Roy.
Exactly my points.
Yeah.
B+, you gave me a really bad room.
Wow, you lost a half a grade just because of a Rob Roy. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a
maybe give me a better movie, like, you know, give me like Spaceballs or something.
You said in the beginning you're a hard grader, so I guess it's Shani grading hard right now.
She just turned it up a notch there, and
I did. I did. I was a little salty because of I got all excited. They were movie themes because I'm a movie buff, thinking I'm gonna get some cool movie. Rob Roy. I had to Google it.
Who are these people? What?
Why is Liam Neeson on my wall this big?
And he's
what? Are you in this movie?
He's creepy. Myself, I was this somewhere between an A and A minus on this. I loved, as Mike said, the closeness and everything right there, and it was wonderful. You could walk out to the Miracle Mile, wasn't it, or whatever the mall, and I mean that was just really cool. Yeah. And they didn't have to go outside virtually at all if you didn't want to. My biggest complaints were why there's only one working elevator or whatever it was in that hall, or something. Maybe there were two, but the elevators took forever, and the rooms, those walls are some of the thinnest rooms in a hotel that I've had in a long time.
Ooh, did you have fun neighbors, John?
They would talk. They came in at 3 a.m. and they would talk until 5 a.m. And yeah, they were talking. That was the problem.
It was that talking that was keeping you up.
If it would have been something else,
was it dirty talking?
No, it wasn't. It was just it sounded like Charlie Brown thing going on, and it wasn't even anything entertaining that I could make a video of and use that on YouTube and say, listen to what I'm hearing. Yeah, couldn't have had any fun with it at all. But yeah, other than that, I think the Planet Hollywood was easily one of the best facilities that we have been to for any convention, and having everything there was a great spot for a DJ event. So,
well, real quick, what was the best of the three for you, John?
The best of the three. Truthfully, the one that
off the top of your head,
right off the top of my head, I would have to say the Mobile Beat one was the best for me because mainly most of my friends attend that one, so I have more friends at that one. Now, for spending quality time with friends, I can do that more in Atlantic City to a point because that my friends aren't the ones who are hitting a lot of the different things, and there aren't as many. So the few of us who are there, we kind of hang together a little bit more. Granted, people like yourself, I don't get to hang with because you're doing a million things. But there's a couple of people that I can hang with in Atlantic City that I can't at the other shows because you're in Las Vegas. Everyone goes 10 different directions. So,
right.
But yeah, I would say,
for me, the best show for me, DJ Expo. Mm-hmm. Traveling there, I hate getting to DJ Expo, but the show in particular is the best show for me.
And I agree. I think Expo for me this year just barely squeaked out Mobile Beat. If we had done this last year, I would have gone Expo and then Mobile Beat here. Yeah. This year is like this. And, listen, Las Vegas DJ show comes in third place, but they're the new kid on the block. I mean, they haven't had 25 years or 20 years to perfect their game. I think what Drax has done in 5 years is actually pretty impressive. I think Drax should be proud of the fact that he's even entered the conversation after being, since being the new kid on the block. So I know Drax, and I know personally he wishes he landed in first place out of the three, but I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of the fact that he comes in third place with two shows that have had 20 to 25 year histories of being produced.
Oh, for sure. And you think of the number of shows that are out there that have been 1 and done, 2 are done, and 3 and done. So really, just to make it 5 years in this industry, which is not an easy spot, is very impressive.
Right.
So since we had a little bit of a break, I think I've got my grades now for each one. So we had the Las Vegas DJ show where we basically we averaged out at a C for that one. Then we had the DJ Expo right here, which averaged out to a B minus. And then the Mobile Beat show averaged out to a C plus. Gosh, we're hard graders.
Yeah, we are.
Like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, touching on what Mike said, I mean, definitely this year for me, Mobile Beat stepped up. I probably wouldn't have been back to Mobile Beat if they wouldn't have stepped up like that. To me, they were going down, and what the production is what they did, and hopefully they'll keep doing it. DJ Times for me, keeps kind of keeping it the way they've been doing, and I like it. It's been doing what they've been doing, and I don't have any. It's the pros and the cons for me, and I like it that way. The Las Vegas DJ show. My big thing about it, if Drax had a team, I think he could be a contender. And I think in a couple of years, he definitely would maybe be one to beat if he just has the right people surrounding him, and he could, say to some people, I need your help and I want to put on a great show.
Well, I think Shani wrapped it up. I think Drax is producing too big of a show to produce on his own with his skeleton crew helping him out. He should delegate some more and allow people to produce different segments of the show for him. And I think that would help him out tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Touching on that really quick. I know just because Mike and I were both presenters, one main thing was the AV in the seminar room. They were using, union guys there, and they were using guys that only were audio techs. They were not video techs because I was talking to them. Mm-hmm. And so when people were having problems with the PowerPoints, they didn't know what to do because they were only audio techs, and that made a big difference. They had bad VGA cables. Why they had bad VGA cables, I have absolutely no idea. I felt the grunt of it during halfway through my seminar when my slides started getting really bad, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to end on a big motivational video, and you couldn't even see my video, and I'm trying to motivate the room with this big motivational thing, and you could only hear it and you can't see what's going on. And it was all because of a bad VGA cable, which makes my whole presentation. Mm. So it's those little things. If you had the right crew working your production, people were having problems with PowerPoints. So seminars were starting later. And then, the attendees are getting antsy, and then they're sitting there going, well, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So people are seeing like, why is this happening? Why is this going on? And then people are talking in the halls and things like that. So he definitely needs a team, to help him out. And that's one thing I do have to say about Mike. He's got a great staff that, doing things. And the minute they hear a mic isn't working, or maybe this isn't happening, or this and that, they're right there. They're jumping on it. They're not getting paid for this. But it doesn't matter to them. This is what they live for. This is, they're there to help people out, and they're jumping on it, and they're making sure that whoever the speaker is, their problem is going to be solved. And these guys here, they didn't care. And I hate to say it, but I work with union guys. They're getting paid regardless.
Yeah.
And that sucks, but it is true, because I was talking to the guy afterwards, and his comment to me was, I'm getting my card signed. I'm getting my money regardless of what this guy's yelling at me about or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. And maybe he needs somebody who works for the Las Vegas DJ show sitting with this guy.
Yeah.
Things like that. At the parties, you need somebody running that party for him. Things like that. And I think if he has something like that, that Las Vegas DJ show can have more people showing up, more money's going into it, more people, or then maybe more vendors are going to want to go to that show. Then more money's going to get into it, maybe, and it could be one of the contenders.
Yeah. Good thoughts. Great information. We've got a lot of information. We've done a lot of talking tonight. Thank you both for coming on and talking conventions.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, I appreciate you making time for that. I'd like to thank you guys for watching tonight. If you have any questions or thoughts, if you made any of the 3 shows and maybe we didn't cover something that you thought would be really important for the discussion, please put that in the comments area down below, right down below Mike. It's right down there. But please put those down there, because we really appreciate what you're seeing and what you're observing, because this is just the opinion of 3 people who were there, and we weren't even there in all instances, and you guys probably were. Again, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and if you have any suggestions for the show producers, put them in the comments below, because they'll be checking on those things. I'm pretty sure of that, and they'll get some feedback, hopefully, and be able to make these into just more incredible experiences for the DJ industry. Shani, Mike, thank you very much. You guys have yourself a wonderful evening.
Thank you, John. Thanks, Shani. Bye.
All right, great. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.